Welcome into the daily grind. Luke, it's another day where we come and sit here and talk about an L.
Yeah.
These shows are getting
Yeah.
awful repetitive and awful boring. But we have a full show for you guys today. Nonetheless, we got a Heat at the Grizzlies recap, of course, our stats monster, and what is the starting lineup going to be, or actually more or less, what should it be? It's going to be our last segment of the show. The Grizzlies lose to the Heat last night in what should have been, honestly, in my opinion, a W. I thought that we talked about this a couple weeks, maybe last week, where sometimes you feel like the games are given to you. Sometimes you feel like you do more, you do enough to win that game. Sometimes you feel like teams throw it away. Sometimes you feel like, hey, the opponent, they played really well. Like they took that game from you. Last night, I thought that the Heat were doing nothing to really take that game. And it was every opportunity for the Grizzlies to do so. And I think that is one of the key things. It didn't feel like a game where it was the Heat's, they were inserting their will onto the Grizzlies, if so to speak. And so that's kind of where I landed on it. What about you?
Yeah, man, it's like they did about damn everything they could other than gift wrapping the game and giving it to us. We just couldn't, and the basketball gods threw us a couple bones with Hero getting injured. Like, for as much as they weren't inserting or exerting their dominance, we weren't grabbing it and running away with it either,
Yeah, I think that's a very good that's a good way to put it. You know what I mean? Like asserting your dominance. So yeah, the Grizzlies really had a challenge. And so here's the things that stood out to me. And you can correct me or you can give me your opinion as well. But here's what I think stood out to me. Zaire was awful on defense.
Awful
on defense. Marcus Smart was awful on offense. The Grizzlies had a really shitty game plan for Bam Adebayo. And then beyond that, I think that those are the reasons that they lost. In terms of, the defense as a whole, I want to single Zaire out because he was awful, and he was really bad. But
real bad.
The defense as a whole, I don't really understand what they're doing with the defensive scheme. And it is a scheme thing. And I'm not going to put blame on the players. You said here on the show yesterday, I said, I think I'm worried that Taylor Jenkins is going to get out coached. And that is exactly what happened. Taylor Jenkins was 100% out coached in this game. And I love Taylor Jenkins, but I think this is on them. I really do. The defensive scheme, I just don't know what they're doing. If you look at the defensive scheme, they are overhelping so much into the middle of the paint. If the ball's on the left side of the court, and then we're getting to the real stupid minutia of basketball right now, but I think it's important, right? If you have the ball is on the left or right side of the court, their short side wingman is all the way in the middle of the free throw line, right? And it happens almost every possession to where when they swing if a team can swing the ball quick enough, one pass, right? This is not even 3 passes away. This is one pass away. If the opposing team swings the ball quick enough, then that person on the other wing on the other side has a direct drive to the basket. You saw it several times last night, or they have an open shot if they're a fast enough shooter. And those are things, with someone like Jimmy Butler, he's going to drive the ball. And now you're in a position where you're trying to recover backwards, and that usually ends up leading to a foul. Or you have to have someone like Jaren try to come over and help, and poor Jaren's trying to do everything out there. He's doing everything he literally can, and he can't still help the team. I really think the defensive scheme was truly awful last night. And you couple that with whatever their decision was to let Bam Adebayo shoot free throw line jumpers all night long, literally uncontested. What in the fuck was what is the idea behind this? I do not understand that.
Nope.
I don't get it. That's literally Bam Adebayo's best shot. Like,
yep.
his best shot is that like little free throw line jumper or elbow extended, and they let him take. I tweeted his shot,
Over.
and they just let him take him. Oh, they were sinking like Jaren, and this is why I know it's scheme because Jaren did it. Bismack did it. Like all the big everybody did it, right? It's not like, hey, Jaren's just like that. Why is he playing? Like, that's kind of weird, right? Nope. And it was all game.
Yep.
And I, for the life of me, had tried to rack my brain of like, okay, why would you do that? Like, what, you know, a lot of times if you think, oh, well, they're packing the paint because they're trying to stop one portion of their offense that they would excel really well at, and we're going to try to limit that. And if they beat us in other ways, then so be it. We'll adjust. And not only did they not adjust, they just let them do it. Like,
yes,
I don't understand. Man, help me understand, Luke.
I can't, man. And you encapsulated it perfectly you tweeted last night when they doubled, like the best encapsulation of why the scheme isn't working is like, I think it was our last play or their last play when we doubled, who had the ball? They inbounded it. It might've been Lowry. Santi doubled him and just left Bam wide open for that shot at the very end. Like, all we had to do was not double. And
yeah, I mean, the last play is in and of I think I separate that last play is separate from everything else, right? I don't agree with the last play. I don't agree with the defense. I had some discussions with the people last on the Discord, and I think that you know, people can, you know, I don't agree with that. I think we could separate the two things, right? That's what I'm trying to say. I think we separate the two things. Like, I cannot agree with the defense on the last play, but I can also understand why they did it. I can, but also understand that is not why they lost. That last play is not why they lost, right?
No.
I wasn't like, I thought, hey, let's just play the defense straight up and force a bad shot.
Yeah.
And you call a timeout and you take a chance to run a play. Now, they didn't decide to do that. They decided to run Santi up there. You know, in the end, the ball ends up in the hands of Jamie Yaquez, who's like a 25% three-point shooter. Right?
What he took was that corner three, right? It was only
right, but he's like a career like 27%. He's not a good three-point shooter. So like at the end of the day, like, yes, in the terms of like, yeah, that's who the ball ended up in, like, that's cool, right? Like, whatever. Yeah. But I think that the scrambled defense lends that self to like, you're lucky that's who the ball ended up in that last play. Could have been a Kyle Lowry or a Jimmy Butler or anybody else. And I didn't think you took a risk when you didn't have to take a risk. Yes, it almost led to a turnover again, but you think you play straight up and you hope for the best. That's just kind of where I land on it. And again, I think that's neither here nor there. I think that's just kind of a difference of opinion on how you think you should play that. I think that's one of those things like, where do you go for three? You know, in football, do you go for three, or do you go for two? Do you kick the field goal, or do you get the touchdown and go for two, go for the win or whatever? Like, I think that's kind of one of those things where it's like, if it had worked, I wouldn't been saying shit, right? Like, yeah, I'd be like, that's cool. I'm glad they doubled.
Good for them.
Great for them. But like, it didn't work. So I'm all like, I wouldn't have doubled. So I think that's where I throw that kind of in the mix. But
it just feels like those are mistakes the defense didn't make last year. Like, as a whole, like, it just feels like they're sloppier.
I mean, the last play, that's a scheme thing. That's like hey, this is what we're going to do. That's the coach on the coaches. Right.
Yeah.
And everything else, even defensively during the game, that's on the coaches. That's on them. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Now Zaire is on himself. Zaire was just bad. Like, he's just
bad, man.
He has not gotten better. I mean, I think he's just gotten worse since, whatever his confidence was beginning of the season is all gone. And yeah, that's unfortunate because they really need him, man. They really need him. And Marcus Smart being Marcus Smart gave me PTSD from Dylan Brooks. Like, please stop fucking shooting the basketball. Please. For the love of everything holy, please stop. So, yeah.
I was trying to play that hero ball that used to kill the Celtics in these same situations, like last night.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, I mean, that's what we thought we were getting away from with you know, with Dylan Brooks. And at the end of the day, I think he'll be better playing next to John Morant. And that's the idea.
Yes.
He's being
Yes.
forced into a role. Again, a lot of people being forced into roles they aren't normally playing. And so, yes, at the end of the day, the roster is worse. The health, I mean, just saying the same things we've been saying, the health issues, all that stuff, be playing with bad players. But I do think that was a winnable game. I really do. I think that was a game. If you come out with a different game plan against Bam Adebayo, if you play any semblance of perimeter defense, like literally just like a little bit, if you look at the stats, they're a lot of the same. They made just as many 3-pointers as the Heat did. Like, and the Heat, I will say this, the Heat did a really good job on the pick and roll. Like the Heat did a very good job on the Grizzlies pick and roll and the half court defense. They could not get anything going. They would have just minutes of stretches where there was nothing happening.
Nothing. Well, I mean, you got to think too, if they play that game again, Bam went to the line 16 times, and made 14 of those shots. Like what's that? Like that won't happen if they replay this game 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, it's still going to happen if they play him like that, right?
If they play him like this,
if they play off of them and then try to recover, and then I think then that ends up being the same. But I digress. I don't. It's difficult to sit here and say,
what if?
What if? But I do think that we could say the what ifs on the scheme defensively, just the way they present themselves. It's just tough. It's just really tough. The only silver lining, I thought Jacob Gillard was really good.
Awesome.
Silver lining. Like, I think if we want to talk about some positive things, then we like to do that on this show. I think that Jacob Gillard was extremely good in his minutes. I honestly, at the end of that game, I was like, hey, why don't we just go back to Jacob Gillard instead of Marcus Smart? Like, he was doing well. That lineup wasn't terrible with Jacob Gillard and Luke instead of Zaire and Marcus. And they went back to Luke, which I was surprised. I honestly thought that, and that was one thing I was like, hey, where are they going to go to Luke, right? Like, that's what I wanted. And I think I was surprised. I think everybody's surprised when he came back in and Zaire went out. So
Luke and Santi both, man, they're like, once we get Ja back and once our starting 5 is playing the same like they're supposed to, Luke and Santi, that's 2 games in a row where they've been hooping. Like if they're our 6th and our 7th guy, I'm feeling good about the 2 of them. Yeah. And Gilliard, like, if that's the bench we're going to be putting out there for the meantime, I like it. More power to him.
I tweeted this last night, and I think it's a real question to have is, would you rather play Jake Gillard in those minutes or Derrick Rose? And that's a real question. I think that's a question that it probably needs to be asked. So interesting to think about. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back on the other side with our stats monster for this game.
I am highly upset, man.
Oh, man.
ESPN, you dastardly dogs you. Last week had us feeling good. They picked the Grizzlies to be first in the West with about 48.5 wins. And what a difference a few days makes.
What a difference.
You put out your list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Desmond Bain jumps in at 61. Jaren Jackson.
Seth Hennigan just still. He
doesn't look himself.
He just doesn't, in the big moments, he's not making the plays that have to be made. If you look at the raw stats, they're not terrible, but the 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he fumbled twice. They didn't lose those fumbles, but 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, one of them coming at a terrible time on a 4th down late in the game when Memphis really needed to put points on the board. But I just don't think Seth is playing well enough to elevate this team.
Right.
I think he's playing well enough for Memphis to be fine, but as far as for them to do something special and to elevate this team, he's just not playing like that.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Kenny, there are certain guys in the NBA that are enigmatic players. They're going to be appealing to a large fan base. But when you have guys like that who, like John Morant, who have off-court issues he's had, Kyrie Irving has had the things he's had, the NBA doesn't particularly like the fact that those guys are larger than life. If I'm an NBA, if I'm ESPN, who of course are working together on all this stuff, I'm going to start telling you who you need to like. And it's going to be a different type of guy to kind of play off of the guys that are going to be there anyway. Let me put these squeaky clean image guys that we want to put in front of you up there as well to kind of counteract some of the stuff we get with the guys that we don't have any control out of. So let me put the Tyrese Halliburtons in front of you. Let me put the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders in front of you, the Josh Giddys. Let me force these guys in front of you, not particularly on national television games, but let me just kind of create these little sub agendas with these guys to kind of make them those second tier stars that we're gonna like put out in front as well. Like, they're doing this on purpose, man. Like, if anybody can't see this, like, come on, man. Do not sit there and tell me that you really think that Tyrese Halliburton is a top 20 player in the NBA.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the show, the Daily Grind, where we talk about the Grizzlies every single day, right here on Bluff City Media. This is the time for shameless promotion. If you're not already a Bluff City Media insider, make sure you go and do so. So easy. Get access to all of our stuff. Get access to our insider articles. Get access to our Discord. Get 20% off merchandise. You get, if you're an annual subscriber, you get a free t-shirt every year that you're a subscriber. I'm sure there's more. You get early access to new merchandise. There's just so much stuff. It's hard to remember. It's only $5 a month. Super easy. So make sure you go and do that. I really, we appreciate that. It allows us to do what we do here on this show, but as well as all of our other shows. Just so much content coming out for you every single day on the Grizzlies Day, Tigers Days. So make sure you go and do that. Sorry. I'm still recovering sickly. I'm so, this means so much to me. This means so much to me. Okay. All right, let's get to our stats monster. And I think this one is an easy one for us. It is Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that's as easy as it gets. 28 points, a block, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. Would love to see more rebounds in that game, but hey, I'll take it. I mean, I think
he's 8 of 10 from the line too.
He was what?
8 of 10 from the line too. Like, I don't know what else we could ask for him.
Yeah. So, so I think he was really good. I there's not much else to say. He did everything he could in this game to like will them to the win. And just really couldn't. On a secondary note, in terms of other stats, Desmond Bane was mediocre. I would say actually Desmond Bane was bad. 4 for between these is Desmond, Santi, and Marcus. 4 for 16, 4 for 14, and 5 for 14 from the field. Not great. Not great.
No, that's really not great.
Bismack Biyama had 10 rebounds. I thought he was good in terms of
almost a double-double.
Almost a double-double again. Yeah. So, again, Jaren was really the only guy who did anything on offense. 28 points is all you can ask for him to do. I think that's his third 20-point game in a row. So, I don't know what else to say here other than this matchup between Jaren and Bam Adebayo was super fun to watch. Like, I know they lost the game, but like, and obviously that's what we want, but watching basketball and it's super fun. Like the Bam Adebayo and Jaren Jackson Jr. matchup was really, really fun to watch. I thought that I'm looking forward to more of those. I could watch like a 1-on-1 like a 1v1 of those guys.
They seem to play each other like really, really intensely too. Like I don't know. I know that Bam was saying those comments in the summer after not getting Defensive Player of the Year, but I don't know. They just seem to quality basketball when those two go at it. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Sorry, I'm dealing with a text message from someone. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. But yeah, stats monster, Jaren Jackson Jr. I know he watches the shows. We will send the certificate in the mail. So make sure to look out for that, Jaren. Let's take a quick break. We'll wrap it up on the other side with maybe a new starting lineup.
Seth Hennigan just still. He
doesn't look himself.
He just doesn't, in the big moments, he's not making the plays that have to be made. If you look at the raw stats, they're not terrible. but the 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he fumbled twice. They didn't lose those fumbles, but 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions. One of them coming at a terrible time on a 4th down late in the game when Memphis really needed to put points on the board. But I just don't think Seth is playing well enough to elevate this team.
Right.
I think he's playing well enough for Memphis to be fine. But as far as for them to do something special and to elevate this team, he's just not playing like that.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Kenny, there are certain guys in the NBA that are enigmatic players. They're going to be appealing to a large fan base. But when you have guys like that who, like Ja Morant, who have off-court issues he's had, Kyrie Irving has had the things he's had, the NBA doesn't particularly like the fact that those guys are larger than life. If I'm the NBA, if I'm ESPN, who of course are working together on all this stuff,
Yeah.
I'm going to start telling you who you need to like. And it's going to be a different type of guy to kind of play off of the guys that are going to be there anyway. Let me put these squeaky clean image guys that we want to put in front of you up there as well to kind of counteract some of the stuff we get with the guys that we don't have any control out of. So let me put the Tyrese Halliburtons in front of you. Let me put the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders in front of you, the Josh Giddeys. Let me force these guys in front of you, not particularly on national television games, but let me just kind of create these little sub agendas with these guys to kind of make them those second tier stars that we're gonna like put out in front as well. Like, they're doing this on purpose, man. Like, if anybody can't see this, like, come on, man. Do not sit there and tell me that you really think that Tyrese Halliburton is a top 20 player in the NBA.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Every single day, doing Grizzlies show. Talking about the Grizzlies losing every single day. That's what I feel like we're talking about every single day. Talking about the Grizzlies losing. Shit. I thought we were going to have such a good day. It sucks so much. I thought we were going to have such a good day today.
That's the first thing I said when we lost. I said, damn it, now we're just going to have to be sad in the morning.
Yeah. It has been not good thus far for the Grizzlies season. But let's, do the Grizzlies, we talked about Zaire being really, really bad. Do the Grizzlies need to make a change in the starting unit?
I think they should at least try stuff. I mean, I think they should at least throw something at a wall and see if it sticks. We know more than anybody else on this roster, Zaire is the kind of guy that is affected by his confidence going one way or the other. Mm-hmm. If it's shot, we have seen him. It's really difficult for him to recover from that.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, I mean, if the answer to the question is yes, they should make a change. What is the change they should make?
I know I'm crazy. I would love to see Santi start.
Okay.
I know that I don't think he's logged any minutes at the 3, but I think if you put him and Jaren and Biz out there, I think you're big, first of all. I don't know. I just think that gives you a lot of Santi gives you more offense right now than Z. And I think he's just a better player than Z. And we know he goes well with Jaren. And I don't know. That's who I would like to see, or Luke. I would start either one of them just to see how I think both Luke gives you offense that you need. And also Santi does too. Maybe not as much, but Santi proved last year when he starts, he's good in place of Jaren. So it's like, I don't know.
I think if it were me, and I do agree, I think that at this point, Zaire is so bad on defense that Luke's not worse, right?
Yeah.
I do agree. The short answer is yes. I do think they need to have a new starting lineup. I would insert Luke into that starting lineup right away. I think his offense makes up for his defense, especially if he's going to shoot as well as he's shooting right now. And that was always the case. As we thought, obviously, he was going to be what he always is. I think that Zaire, again, is not producing enough he's not producing enough, if any, on offense sometimes. and he's truly very. I mean, he's a liability. Not bad. He's a liability right now on defense, and that's unfortunate, right? But like, so at this point, it's like, yeah, let's try to hide him in some minutes off the bench against people who are not as good against bench players, right? Like, let's put him against players who he's got a better chance of being, staying in front of a guarding. Like, he had some stretch last night where he played good defense on Jimmy Butler. Like, and I say stretches, I mean like really short, like a couple possessions here and there. And it's like, okay, I see that. Like I can see it. So like, maybe you start him all coming off the bench. He has some, success against players, some other role players. And then maybe he gets his confidence back. Like, that's really all you're looking for. And then in Luke, like, if you start him, you would think that you can hide him on defense, right? To where he's not a liability. And I think they've done that pretty well so far. And he's, on offense, he has to be respected enough to be able to space the floor, right? He's got to be, he does things well enough that makes up for that defense. If he is not a liability, but just not as good. And he's not as good as other wings. So
he doesn't get enough credit for how much he rebounds either. He rebounds oddly well. And I don't think people give him enough credit for that.
Yeah. He had 3 rebounds last night. So I do think changing it up, trying something different is kind of where they're at right now. I think Santi is kind of a weird choice, to be honest with you. I think
it's weird.
I like the idea of it, but I think I see the problems with it. Like, they don't want to have any bigs off the bench. And that's that puts them in a really weird spot. If they had more bigs, I can maybe see them trying it, but I think that I think he would really struggle with guarding threes. Like, I didn't say it would work. I didn't say it would work. I would love to see it though. I mean, I would love to see it. I like weird lineups. I'd love to see it. But,
just throw them out there for one possession, see what it looks like.
Yeah, but I do think that the Grizzlies are going to have to try something. They obviously have to try a lot of things different. But I think starting with different lineup, giving you different looks, starting with maybe more offense to show you where he's not always have to come from. Like, you're not always going to dig out of that 10-point hole. And I think that's where they find this was a lot of is they're always having to dig out of that hole. They're always having to try to expend so much energy to come back from 9 points down. And then when they get 9 points down, like, okay, now we got to take the lead, right? We saw that last night.
And they can't do it.
They could get within 2, maybe take the lead and buy 2. And they just could not hold on. Every time they did it, it was a massive effort to do it, and then to get there and run out of steam, run out of offense. Like, just all those things happened. You've seen that multiple games in a row. Saw that game. So, any final thoughts on the Grizzlies before we get out of here today?
No, I mean, I feel like every game feels like a must-win now, but I think there needs to be something happen. That he needs to make a decision about the starting lineup before Friday. I think. Yeah,
I would tend to agree. We will be back tomorrow. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. If you're not in Bluff City Meetings Insider, make sure you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's free. It really helps us out, and it does cost you nothing, and it benefits us. So we'd really appreciate that. Go download this podcast on wherever you get your, if you're audio only person, you want to listen to it later. Spotify, Apple iTunes, wherever you get those podcasts. We'll be here every single day at 9:00 in the morning doing the daily grind. Make sure you check out other shows coming up on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Yesterday we had a full slate. Today we got another full of shows. Don't forget the post-game show, Daniel and Nate, after every single game. They're really depressed right now, just like we are, because they have to do this every single game. So show them some love. Join in on their show. It's a really interactive show. They take your comments, questions. So make sure you guys do that before we get out of here. All right, man. Well, that's it for our show today. We will have another show tomorrow. We'll see you then. See you guys then.